And a very good day to all my viewers out there. It is right now Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. It's exactly 4:41 p.m. And we got breaking news here as we have an ice storm in Montreal, Canada. And it's been freezing rain all day, as you can see, thick buildup of ice. And we got some ice falling from buildings here. Look at this. We're gonna go right underneath it to see up close what it looks like when it falls. And here's a look at the trees, the ice buildup on the trees. Pretty thick. Not as thick as the 1998 ice storm. But I'm going to do a couple of videos tonight and show you footage. And now the temperature's warming up, so we're having these pieces of ice come down. And as you can see, they're basically thin pieces of ice that accumulate on the windows, and they kind of float down. But if they do hit you, it does hurt. I got hit in the finger. And as the wind starts to pick up, that's when we have these sheets of ice that peel off the building. And if you look there, you can see a whole bunch coming off there. So we'll walk around, see what we can see. And once again, good evening to all my viewers. It's Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. It's 6:04 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are here now in LaSalle. We started our coverage in downtown Montreal. We're now in LaSalle, and this ice storm is getting worse. We have, I think now, 700,000 clients without power in Quebec. Look how thick this ice is. That's incredible. And I was saying earlier, and I was doing a live stream on the way here, a short one, that we usually get one of these ice storms at least once or twice a year. Usually it's in the fall and winter, or sorry, fall and spring, and yes, sometimes as well in the winter. So it could happen in any of those three seasons, but it's most likely to occur in fall or winter, because that's when the temperature is not too hot, not too cold, just enough to give us freezing rain. And if you're not familiar or you're not in the area, freezing rain is basic rain that falls as water, liquid form, but as soon as it makes contact with something like a tree branch, basically turns to ice. And what happens is the weight of the ice brings these branches down, and as the branches come down, they could snap and break, and a lot of times you'll have power lines that are right under the trees, and that's how you get your power outages. A viewer sent me a video earlier for another scenario where a tree might not necessarily break, but the tree can come down like this and touch a power line. And that's when you're going to have some contact with the power line, and that's how a power outage can happen, in a fire and whatnot. So if you're wondering where we are, we're at Bishop Power in Central. I'm going to be meeting up now with a buddy here, and he lives down there, and what I'll do is I'll come out later and I'll assess the damage some more. Apparently this should be changing over to straight rain soon. Well, it is straight rain, but it should stop freezing soon, and it should just go on as regular rain, but it's going to take a while for this ice to come off. And that's another factor, is the ice, as it's falling off, that can land on power lines and whatnot. So this is a huge storm. This is probably the biggest ice storm within the last decade. Of course, the biggest one was the ice storm of 1998, but this is pretty serious. And make our way across here, and I'll show you. There's a tree there, a branch that fell. So this is going to be very costly cleanup, and you can see the grass as well. The grass has a lot of ice on it. One more look at that level of thickness. So they were expecting 10 to 20 millimeters. That's definitely 10 to 20 millimeters, probably even more. Could be 25 millimeters easily. Just wanted to show you that. All right, guys, continuing coverage here of this major ice storm that has just hit Montreal and the surrounding area. This is definitely historical. We have almost 1 million people without power in the province. 1 million customers without power almost. And it is right now Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. It's exactly 11:04 p.m. The temperature is above zero. The rain has stopped. It's above 0 degrees Celsius. Now the big problem is ice melting. Look at this. The ice is starting to melt off of these objects, whether it's tree branches, signs. And what's going to happen when that happens? Well, you're going to get more power outages because this ice is going to fall down and it's going to hit power lines and whatnot. And the other issues, of course, extra damage. You know, if this ice falling, look at this, I'll just show you. That's just a little bit, but as time goes on, more of this ice is going to fall and it's going to affect structures. And the other thing that's going to happen probably is we're going to see wind coming within the next few days. This weekend, we're right now going into a warm front. The temperature is warming up, and then the temperature is going to cool down later on this weekend at some point, and that's when we're going to get some heavy winds. And when the heavy winds move in, that's when we're going to see a lot of these branches that have been weakened from this ice. That's when they're going to basically come down, and there's probably going to be additional power outages. This scene right here, this branch that just probably recently fell down, this is what it looks like throughout the city. And I'm going to continue getting footage. I'm going to walk around a bit more. And another thing, another hazard is of course the stairs, completely full of ice. Even if it's melting, it's very slippery. Another thing I want to mention, you see right here, this branch in the middle of the sidewalk. There's thousands of these throughout Montreal right now and the surrounding areas. This has not affected any power lines. As you can see, it came from that tree there. Because it hasn't affected any power lines, this is probably going to be staying on the street for a couple of days, because right now they're prioritizing the trees that have impacted power lines. This is a low priority situation. Any other time, you'd see a response here probably. I can't emphasize how major this situation is. This is truly historical, and I haven't seen a storm like this that has affected so many households in terms of electricity and caused so much damage since the ice storm of 1998. Now, the ice storm in 98 was pretty bad. That lasted weeks in terms of power outages. But this, since that time, is one of the worst storms that I can recall in terms of damage and power outages. So I'm gonna go get some footage and see what we could see. All right, so it's right now Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. It's 11:24 p.m. Eastern. And look at this. This is an example of what we're seeing all over the city. Like I said earlier, if you live in Montreal, you're affected by this one way or another. Even if you're in the surrounding area, this is what you're seeing. So right now, I'm gonna call it a night because I just found out that my headquarters, where I live, basically, has lost electricity. So I'm gonna call it a night. I'm gonna preserve my battery, preserve my phone. Tomorrow I'll probably do an updated video. So have a good night, everybody. As always, more videos to come. And it's now the next day. It's Thursday, April 6th, 2023. It's 8:10 a.m. Eastern. And this now is continuing coverage of this major ice storm that has hit Montreal and the surrounding areas. You can see here this tree branch that fell from this tree up here took out this power line. You can see the power line. We're going to get a better view of it. Also some utility wires as well. You could see right there is where the wire is, and the whole thing fell down because of this tree branch here. And this is the scene all across Montreal right now, all across southern Quebec and the surrounding areas. So this is pretty much what we're waking up to. And because I don't have power at my place, I don't have electrical power, I'm going to be probably uploading this video at a later date, but hopefully by sometime this weekend. But look at this, look at these trees, branches everywhere, and this is the common scene here. I will have more coverage throughout the day, throughout the evening, and I'm going to put it all in one video. And for now I'm going to be going to work, charging my phone up, and after work I'll be going out again and checking out some damage. Wow, look at that sunset, isn't that beautiful? And this is the continuation of my video documenting this ice storm. Now it's the aftermath of it, of course. It's Thursday, April 6, 2023. Currently 7:44 p.m. Eastern. And look at this beautiful, stunning sunset right now. Which ironically, guess what? Has those power pylons right in front of it. So I'll just point this out. What you're seeing here, these are the high voltage transmission lines. These are sort of like the main lines that bring the power to the substations. And then you have sort of like this, smaller poles, utility poles, the wooden ones. In 1998, during the ice storm of 1998 here in Montreal and the surrounding areas, it was actually these wires that collapsed, these power pylons. Not these ones specifically, but ones that were surrounding Montreal, that were bringing the electrical power from the hydroelectric dams, from James Bay, Hudson Bay. Yeah, I think mostly James Bay. And what happened in 1998 is these types of structures were the ones that were prone to collapse, and they in fact did because of the heavy ice. For this ice storm, it's obviously not as serious, but for this ice storm, it was mainly these types of poles that fell, the ones you see on the side streets. So that's why there's so many blackouts that are isolated. It's not main power lines like this that collapsed during this ice storm. It was the smaller utility ones that are close to basically the houses, the factories, commercial buildings, the stores. And this brings the debate, you know what? Maybe we should start putting wires underground. Like for example, this street right here. You notice they have power, they have electricity. Why? Most likely because there's no power lines above ground, it's all underneath. So I just wanted to point that out. Right now we're going to the West Island. I'm going to go check out St. Anne de Bellevue and see if we can, well, it's not a matter of if, but let's see what kind of damage we're going to document. So we're going to go off to St. Anne de Bellevue, and I got my battery pack with me, all charged up, ready to go, and see what tonight brings, as there's still at least very close to at least 900,000 people without power, 900,000 customers without electricity. Could even be 1 million still, but slowly it's getting restored. We're gonna go check out the West Island now. And good evening once again. We're continuing our video here of the aftermath of that major ice storm. It's now Friday, April 7th, 2023. It's exactly 11:22 p.m. Eastern, and we are in the West Island of Montreal on Chateau Pierrefonds Street. And as of right now, there's about maybe 600,000, 500,000 customers without power in Quebec, including yours truly, myself. Now look at that beautiful full moon, by the way. The pink moon it's known as in April. The full moon in April is known as the pink moon. And I've been out of power since Wednesday when this ice storm happened. Wednesday, April the 5th, 2023. Power went out around 4:35 p.m. Eastern. And that was on April 5th. It's now Friday, April 7th, 2023. Slowly they are restoring it. Montreal, the island of Montreal, was one of the hardest hit areas for power outages. And where I am right now, in Pierrefonds, this is one of the hardest hit areas of the island of Montreal. So I just wanted to come here, walk around, get some footage, and see what we could see. Well, look at this. I turn on to Gwen Street here in the West Island and we got a fire going on. Talk about timing. Don't know where it is, but on a related note to the power outages, this is an area that seems to be affected by the power outage. This is on Gwen. This is Gwen Street we're on now, and the cross street coming up is Chateau Pierrefonds. So looks like there's a residence here, some kind of, maybe it's seniors residence or apartment residence. They have power because there's generators, but yeah, it looks like a small residential fire here. And maybe that's because, you know what, a lot of people are using wood stoves, fireplaces, electric generators, so that might be why some of these fires are happening. And another thing they warned about is carbon monoxide poisoning, because the carbon monoxide, of course, is a result of, you know, if you're bringing something indoors that you shouldn't to do heating, like some people are bringing barbecues or gas stoves inside, and it, of course, creates a toxic environment, so got to be careful for that as well. Do a little walk around here, and might do a small video on this fire, and we'll see what we can see. And we're facing east. Alright, good evening. It's Friday, April 7th, 2023. It's 11:54 p.m. Eastern. And I was just doing a walking video here in the West Island, covering the power outages, and I came across a fire here. Looks like a residential building, a small residential building. This is on Gwen and the corner of Chateau Pierrefonds. So we got a lot of West Island fire departments here, and this is in 59 territory, station 59 territory, and yeah, looks like that's where the fire is, right across the street there. Because it's only a first alarm, there's just regular units here, so I'm going to keep the video short. And of course, because there's blackouts all over Montreal because of that ice storm on Wednesday, April 7th, 2023 this year, that's why we're probably having some of these fires. You know, people are using wood stoves, fireplaces and whatnot. So you got to be careful, obviously. And anyways, very good evening to all my viewers out there. It is right now Monday, April 10th, 2023. It's 12:18 a.m. And what better way to end my coverage of this ice storm by announcing my electricity's back on. The wire seems to have been fixed. I checked the map. The power's back on in my area, my sector. We still got this tree on this car here. I will do more videos this week, walking around Montreal, showing you some of the branches and whatnot that have been damaged. Still some things to cover. But for my official video covering this ice storm, I'm now going to wrap it up. I'm going to upload it. And thank you everyone for watching. As always, more videos to come. Keep an eye out on the weather. You never know what's going to happen and when. All right, more videos to come.